What do you make of all of this? Because there will be people watching this morning that will think, oh, come on, just let little girls be little girls. If they want to be a princess, let them be a princess. You know, this was something that was so common when we were younger that, you know, most of the protagonists in these stories were princesses or whatever else. What's the big deal?
Well, I think the big deal is that, first of all, it's great that when people like Gavin are producing alternatives like this and positive alternatives, because we have got to get to a place where we're presenting our sons and our daughters, because little boys are just as exposed to princess culture as little girls are, but in a slightly different way, with more limitless possibilities. That there's nothing wrong with liking princesses, but we need to be very aware that princess culture, for want of a better term, is actually a mass marketing, consumer-driven enterprise.
It has negative connotations, just the way you're saying it
does,
there.
You see, and that's it, like it does, because I think what we've got to get to is if we tell our little girls that they're princesses, what is our preconceived notion of what a princess is? Like all of those stories, I'm laughing at the Princess and the Pea, it's just one of many. But all of those stories have this whole thing that, you know, for a little girl, what you do is you go to sleep and you wait for somebody to rescue you. And that's your trajectory in life.
And you get married, and that's it, that's your lot.
And that equals happiness. So I think, look, I'm not saying abandon those stories. Those stories have been around forever, and there is some pro-social benefits to those as well. But it's how you read them with your daughter. So don't feel like, oh, I read those, am I being a bad parent? Not at all, but it's an opportunity to help your daughter engage in critical thinking and go, I wonder, what if you were writing this story, what would you change about it, or what would you do, or what do you think the princess does when she's not in the castle?
And that's what
and
I
let your daughter come up with something.
But I like the way Gavin has included not just a princess. So you can be a princess.
You can be.
You can be all of the, I suppose, the things that, you know, you conjure up being a princess and love your beautiful long gowns. And you can also be a firefighter and so on.
And that's what I love about this. It's the limitless possibilities. I mean, we already know from research that as parents, we are much more likely, in fact, 4 times more likely to, you know, urge our daughters to be cautious about doing so-called risky play and risky behaviour than we are our sons. There was a study done about on playgrounds about climbing a fireman's pole, and it showed that parents were 4 times more likely to assist their sons to try it while saying to their daughters, don't do it.
Really?
So we have also internalised this princess complex.
Do you think it's
ourselves.
subconscious then? We don't know.
I think it is. I don't think anyone's out there saying, I want to limit my daughter's possibility.
But then, as Paul mentioned earlier on, you know, what's the big deal in that? Even today, a little one will come in and she's twirling around in her beautiful dress and she's 3 years old. I mean, it's very hard to say, oh, you look very smart there. You know, you automatically you're going to say, you look beautiful, you look like a princess, I love your princess dress.
You're adorable, you're gorgeous.
And if that comes out, and it will come out of your mouth, and it's perfectly fine to tell a child she looks really nice, but once we balance that with, and I wonder what book you're reading, I wonder what your favourite thing you read this week is, that we don't just talk to our, and we tend to do it more with our daughters, we don't just say it's about what you look like, but it's how you are.
Sure.